either George Chahal, an MP that I actually voted for, lied to me, or he's lying to the public. Because did he actually, forward my situation to ISED, and was it ISED that ignored it, or is he just lying to save face?
In essence, your position is that the minister and his office softened the final report of an investigation into governance and conflicts of interest at SDTC to protect Justin Trudeau's hand-picked conflicted chair, Annette Verschuren.
Everyone has an opinion about Canadian federal politics.
Oh, yeah.
Hey gang, what's up? Just Aaron right here, Canadian Looney. Larry Brock is always on fire in these committee videos. This is going to be a very revealing video. We have a whistleblower from the SETC scandal, and this guy seems legitimate. He's calling out MPs for at least stretching the truth, lying to somebody, it would seem. Let's get into it. It is an interesting piece. Like this first introduction to this witness. Listen to what this guy has to say, and then Larry Brock is going to follow up with some very great questions. Let's take a look. Let's take a peek.
There's a lot of speech here. Frankly, I'm embarrassed to be here because me being here is an indication that the systems that are set out to protect people don't work. That's the biggest issue here, and I'll continue on my speech, but I want to make it clear that I'm here not just for SDTC, but point out that this should not have taken a 2-year effort to get to this point. And even to this day, real accountability doesn't exist. The Auditor General's findings conclusively validated and vindicated every single one of the issues I initially raised. Within hours of the report's publication, the Minister dissolved SDTC, a clear indication of the severity of the misconduct. This decision should serve as further proof that SDTC was beyond repair, with corruption that was so badly ingrained that it rendered the organization unfixable. It also serves as the ultimate indictment against SDTC's leadership, who continue to work today. I'd like to extend my gratitude to the Office of the Auditor General for its dedication to this inquiry and their wider efforts as one of the few independent institutions in Canada that continue to uphold public trust in a system that has become increasingly opaque and unjust. And just as I was always confident that the Auditor General would confirm the financial mismanagement at SDTC, I remain equally confident that the RCMP will substantiate the criminal activities that occurred within the organization. Again, I accepted this invitation to come to this committee because I'd like to talk about the actual effort that was required to get to this point and what the continued lack of action by the federal government indicates about our society. Because the real issues extend beyond SDTC's collapse. The true failure of the situation stands at the feet of our current government, whose decision to protect wrongdoers and cover up their findings over the last 12 months is a serious indictment of how our democratic systems and institutions are being corrupted by political interference. It should never have taken 2 years for the issues to reach this point, and what should have been a straightforward process turned into a bureaucratic nightmare that allowed SDTC to continue wasting millions of dollars and abusing countless employees over the last year. The first government official that I approached was the Liberal Member of Parliament for Calgary Skyview, George Chahal, at an SDTC event all the way back in May of 2022. He assured me that he took this situation seriously and guaranteed that he would facilitate contact with the appropriate people in the federal government and the Auditor General's office. His subsequent refusal to engage forced us to spend the next 5 months trying and failing to contact various agencies, including ISED, the Ethics Commissioner, as well as the Public Integrity Commissioner, to name just a few. It was only in December 2022 that I finally contacted the Auditor General's office which set off a chain of events that finally culminated in the report in June. It took almost a full year after we initially talked to the MP that this file eventually ended up at ISED, who then hired RCGT in March 2023 to conduct a fact-finding exercise. This fact-finding was supposed to be a 6-week exercise with a simple goal to just validate the documentations that I had provided with a stated guarantee that subsequent investigations involving the AG, ISED, and the RCMP would be initiated if any of those documents and allegations were proven true. By May 2023, ISED had already confirmed most of those allegations. RCGT had even drafted a report and provided a debrief to myself, with ISED bureaucrats stating their plan to make a recommendation to the Minister and PCO that the report be released and that at least 4 separate investigations be initiated and managed through a newly created office within ISED. All of this should have led to immediate action, but once those findings reached the Privy Council office and the Minister's office, everything changed. The investigation was delayed for another 4 months, allowing SDTC to continue misusing funds and mistreat employees, where at this point the federal government had in fact known that this was true. By late August, ISED now confirmed that no further investigations were required, and instead there were plans to release the report, suspend SDTC, and remove the board and executive team immediately. This was the outcome I was expecting, and I was satisfied that this situation was finally going to be resolved. Yet the minister and the government didn't act. ISED manipulated the findings, withheld the report from the public, and only suspended SDTC on a temporary basis with no plans to act against any single one of the wrongdoers, despite having overwhelming evidence to the contrary. The minister himself defended his inaction, stating that RCGT's report was inconclusive, but if anyone read the legal disclaimers that RCGT themselves had written in the reports, it would actually state the contrary. The report explicitly stated that none of the findings and work done by RCGT could actually be used to prove or disprove misconduct. This delay and lack of action again let SDTC continue operations unchecked and continue them to allow misuse of taxpayer dollars. At this point, the AG's office informed me of their decision to act, and in response, I made the decision to whistleblow a second time, this time publicly releasing recordings that expose ISED's deliberate inactions and falsehoods. The fact that I had to act again speaks volumes about the depth of corruption, not just within SDTC, but within the government and bureaucracy. The government's failure to act promptly or transparently is not just a bureaucratic failure, it is a moral one. These revelations triggered further inquiries.
Excuse me, Mr. Witness, I'm going to have to stop you there because I think that's a good point. You're a little over your time, and I'm sure the members are going to have additional questions for you. So without further ado.
Thank you, witness, for your attendance today. Thank you for your courage and bravery in coming forward and exposing the systemic corruption with this failed Liberal government. Canadians, thank you. I personally thank you. Now, I want to start by focusing in on lies. You referenced George CHAHAL, either lying directly to you or lying to Canadians, Liberal MP from Calgary. You've also made claims that Minister Champagne has deliberately misled, or in your words, lied to Canadians and lied to committee. You referenced in a recent post that there was an egregious cover-up over allegations of mismanagement and misconduct by SDTC. In essence, your position is that the minister and his office softened the final report of an investigation into governance and conflicts of interest at SDTC to protect Justin Trudeau's hand-picked conflicted chair, Annette Verschuren. So I take it that you're referencing 2 avenues of deliberate deceit by Minister Champagne. One in relation to the report, when it was received, and your allegation, sir, that it was manipulated, or in your words, softened, and actually the timing by which he shared the news with Canadians that he took action. Am I accurate in that assessment?
You're accurate. And I would, I'd mentioned that there's a lot of public interest in this current parliamentary session with the potential of a vote of no confidence. And I would say that the real vote of no confidence against the Liberal Party happened when the Auditor General made a decision to intervene, because the Auditor General was the one that actually referenced the situation to PCO, and I said because the AG's office thought that this was a very simple situation to address.
Sure.
And when the ISED minister decided to not act, that is when the AG's office intervened. That in itself is a bigger vote of no confidence against the government than anything else.
Sure. And Minister Champagne has proudly on numerous occasions talked about how efficiently he acted, displaying transparency and accountability to Canadians. You're claiming the complete opposite, that he took the report, manipulated the report, softened the language, and then delayed doing anything to protect the insiders that were currently governing SDTC. Is that correct?
Well, yeah, it's correct. It's any ruling party would not want this on their plate, so there's an obvious reason for why nothing happened.
Okay, so I'll stop you right there. With respect to the 37 hours of recordings with the Assistant Deputy Minister, correct me if I'm wrong, the chain of command with respect to communication at that level, the Assistant Deputy Minister reports to the Deputy Minister of ISED, who then reports to Minister Champagne. Is that correct?
Correct.
And you shared months and months of concerns, 300 pages of concerns laid out regarding allegations of mismanagement and human resource issues. You shared that. You shared that with the ADM, and I'm now telling you that likely the ADM most assuredly transferred that knowledge to the Deputy Minister, who transferred that knowledge to Minister Champagne, and no one did anything until the fall of 2023. Is that accurate?
That's accurate.
Okay. Thank you. No further questions.
Thank you.
My apologies. I do. My apologies, Chair. I have 30 seconds.
You have 30 seconds.
Would you table, sir, you referenced the 37 hours of transcripts of the ISED conversations with the ADM. Will you table those transcripts with this committee, please?
Sure. If
Thank
wanna
you.
hear them.
Those are the questions.
Thank you very much.
Everyone has an opinion about Canadian federal politics.
Oh, yeah.
All right, gang, I don't know what to think. What do you think? Leave it in the comments. My name is Aaron, Canadian Looney, trying to figure out what is going on in this world of Canadian federal politics. It's hard to figure out. There are so many deceptions and, carrots being dangled, people trying to trick and fool us. It's been tough. Larry Brock is there asking the questions I think Canadians, at least like myself, want the answers to. It's hard to get answers here in the House of Commons and in these committee meetings as well. Again, Aaron, Canadian Looney, like, subscribe, share, get notified, all those fun things. Please leave a comment. Love the comments. We'll check you next video. Thanks for watching this one.